Alrighty, countdown to the Geekcast. This is Retro Ray. We're back again talking about comics. We're going to be talking what goes on behind the comics, what puts it together, the writers, the artists. Um, and before we start off, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors, Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch here in San Antonio, Texas. Without these guys, we'd not be able to do the comic reviews for you guys and be able to do interviews with artists, writers, and then also let's not forget Real Retro. If you want to get anything from the 90s, the 80s, vinyl records, VHS, DVDs, CDs, you want to hit up Real Retro in San Antonio in the Eisenhower Flea Market. Well, we're going to be talking to artist Drew Moss, who is going to be doing the interior artwork for, if you grew up and saw Thundercats back in the day, which I have because I'm a big Thundercat fan. Um, I'm going to show you the cover for one of the covers. There's going to be a bunch of variant covers. This is one of the covers for the Thundercats. We're going to get Drew Moss into the room and get started talking about comics and Thundercats. How's it going, sir?
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been a very exciting day, I guess.
How's the weather up there?
It was actually pretty warm this weekend, like close to 70, and then now it's 40 some degrees. But that's the way it is where I am. Like it can be 20 degrees one day and like 70 degrees the next. We're like in that weird part of the jet stream on the East Coast, and the water affects us a lot.
Yeah, Texas is kind of the same way. One day it's cold, then next day it's rainy. It's crazy. I just nuts on that part. Well, I'm glad you're able to join us today to talk about artwork. You getting in
Yep.
the industry and also being able to work on such an iconic IP. They've done it back in the day, and they did the reboot for the TV series, didn't do so well. But from what I see that you're doing the artwork, I see where you're kind of still paying homage to the original, but doing a new take to it in the artwork,
Yeah.
which I love about that. I can't wait to read it. Hardcore Thundercat fan, and I reached out to the voice of Lino and let him know I was going to be doing this interview with you. And he said he looks
Oh my
forward to,
goodness.
he looks forward to looking at it. And I'm not kidding you. I'm going to show you his phone number. Because some people don't, they don't believe me when I say, I have Larry Kenny's number. But Larry Kenny, well, let's see. I'm gonna have to crop it so we can't show his number.
Oh yeah, definitely. Please don't put his number out there.
So I don't know if you can see it. I can't show it. Okay, there we go.
That's pretty cool.
There you go, right there. Yeah, and he said he's
I
looking.
believe you, man.
He's looking forward to seeing it, and I told him, I'll see, what are the odds of trying to get a signed comic for him. But he said he's happy that they're doing it in a comic book form. There's also been talks about it being made into a movie.
That'd be crazy. If they use my designs, I'll faint.
So getting back to you started off before we even get into Thundercats. So, we're talking before the show and you were telling me an awesome story about, you growing up in Spider-Man. Give us a little about that and how, you growing up and getting all that.
Well, I've actually told this story a bunch on different podcasts, but it's easy to tell because it is part of my origin story. When I was 5, back in 1980, I used to live with my grandparents. My father was stationed overseas, and my mother's Korean. So we went to live with his parents. In West Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia. So anybody from Charleston, I know all about Charleston. But every day I would watch the 1969 Spider-Man in rerun. I say that because every time I say 1969 Spider-Man, I want people thinking I'm from 1969. I'm not that old. I'm pretty old, but I'm not that old. Uh, and every day after dinner, my grandfather and I would sit on the front porch, and he'd call out the names of the cars going by, and I would tell him what happened on that day's episode of Spider-Man. We did this every day, and I'd go out there and I'd tell him for about 2 hours, like just ridiculous stories. It'd start out with the show, but somewhere it would skew into like roller coasters and fly twins. I remember that one specifically, the ones with the twin fly brothers. I don't even know if that was a real thing, but in my head it was. And I tell him these crazy stories, and he'd smoke his pipe. And then at the end of about 2 hours, he'd tap his pipe out, and we'd go inside. But before we go inside, he'd go, "Don't forget to watch Spider-Man tomorrow. I want to know what happens." And we did that every day, um, as long as I lived there. So I moved. My dad came back from overseas, and we moved to a place, Hampton, Virginia, where I live now, um, to a base called Fort Monroe, which has been decommissioned, but we moved there. So in 1990, I was 15, and my grandfather was dying from a brain tumor. Um, and I promised him that I would draw Spider-Man professionally. But like I told you, I was 15, and I didn't know how to deal
Oh yeah,
with
we don't know how at that age. We don't know what to do on a situation like that.
like that. I don't know how to deal with it now. Um,
I don't think we
but
never get adjusted to that. It's hard
yeah,
every time.
well, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to attend funerals, and it sucks. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I promised him that just because like I told you, it's more for me, probably less for him. Just maybe it was a thing that we shared that I cherish so much. Um, and he was like a father to me. Since my father wasn't really around much. So, but luckily, about a year and a half ago, I got to draw Spider-Man for the Hasbro Mechasaurus series.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to draw the toy art for the box.
Oh, nice.
So I got to draw them professionally, technically. Not in comics yet, but I'm counting that. That's a win for me. Uh,
Hey, it's one step closer. So you getting into the artwork and getting into, so you had mentioned that you went to art school and you kind of didn't get it right away until later on. Once you start getting later
well, I
on,
went to a
that's
university.
okay. University.
It
Okay. Okay.
wasn't an art school.
Okay. Okay.
I majored in art, uh, but it wasn't an art school, which was probably a dumb thing to do. Uh,
Because it's two different things, right? It's like they
yeah,
expect
it
you to
is.
follow Picasso and all this other stuff, and it's like, but that's not what I want to draw, or you know what I mean? It's kind of
Well,
weird, right?
they're right. And also I went to a university where I also had to take, uh, regular classes like argumentative writing and stuff like that. Um, but if I went to art school, I wouldn't have had to do that. Uh, but no, the teachers are right. Like they push you in a way. What I've learned the most in my life as an artist, and I've learned stuff from all walks of life, but I've learned from people who are learned. I've also learned from people who've just learned from experience. But what they all push you to do is to push yourself in different directions. Like sculpting helps drawing, photography helps drawing, painting helps drawing. Like um, any form of art will sculpting, everything gets you better at everything. Um, and teachers will push that on you when you're young and you don't understand because you're like, I don't want to do that. This is what I want to do. but they're just trying to make you more well-rounded. Maybe they don't do it in the right way to where you understand, and maybe that's their fault, or maybe it's your impetuousness that and your impatience to learn. Like you want to be good now. But what I usually
Yes.
tell the young people, I always tell them you're as good like you're as good as you need to be now, and you're better today than you were yesterday. So imagine what you'll be tomorrow. Like
Yes.
like don't worry about it. You're good enough right now. You will get better, and you're better than you were. So like learn, stop, don't be in your own way. Like it's a
Got to open your
I
mind.
I wish I taught myself that lesson.
Well, sometimes it takes us having to go through some of those trials to help us get to make us better and learn from
Yes, I
that.
agree.
So, and that's one of the things I did notice about some of your artwork that you do. You go in between. You have, it looks like you do some painting watercolors. You do some. You kind of change it up from what I see. Like there's this one I love. This one is the Dungeons and Dragons piece. So when you did
Yes.
this piece, how did you? What did you use to do that? Was it
That's
just marker?
ink, marker, acrylics, color pencils, and I think that's it. Ink, markers, color pencils, and acrylics. Like the yellow, the red, the border acrylics. There's some highlights with color pencil and some blending in the shoulders and the chest with color pencil. And then the base stuff is marker. And then, of course,
Nice.
the line work is ink. So uh, I've learned through time that you use what you need to use to do what you need to do. Don't ham bone yourself into this. I only can use one thing. Uh, it, it's ridiculous. The stuff's there. Like use it. Do whatever you want. I think Bob Schreck. I did a portfolio review with him maybe 15 years ago at a show, and when he looked at my inks and he went, uh, "You like inking?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And he's like, "What do you use?" And I was about to say something. He goes, "No, let me guess. You use brushes, quills, rocks, sand, whatever you can get your hand on, you use." I was like, "Yes, I do. I use my thumbs, I use sticks, I use whatever. Um, paper towels, like Q-tips. Um,
To
like you
get the
got to do
shading
what you
in
got to
there.
do." Yeah, and it adds texture. And then as you get old, well, not older, more experienced, you start
Wiser.
playing with other things. Just because I don't know about you, but like I said, I'm insatiable when it comes to this thing, and I just want to get better. Um, like
Dude,
that's my goal.
I like I said, I'm a big guy into art, and that's what draws me because everybody has their different take on how they draw things, what they use, and that's exactly what you're stating. Like this, I love this piece, of course, because you mentioned Spider-Man. This one I like.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
That
that's a
one,
fun one.
yeah. So I noticed it's basically marker two as well with different shades of different markers. I take it.
Yeah, marker. There's some acrylics in there. Um, and just and yeah, acrylics. That's see the splatter in there. There's maybe a little colored pencil in his cheeks, his nose, and the arms.
It looks beautiful.
But yeah, and then in the back it's ink wash. Now I did a gray version of that too,
Yes, I saw
which
that one
I
as
actually
well.
like. I actually like that one better. Uh, but
Actually,
yeah, no,
I
I
have that one, I think, right here, and I'm gonna bring that up as well. Like I told you, man, I love art, so uh I'm prepared for all this. And
uh,
I take it it's this one right here.
yeah, it just reads better. I think.
Well, actually,
Um,
both I like the way both are because the shading. This one you can see the shading more detailed, kind of, and then the other
yeah,
one you see the colors pop. And here it's just
you
a
know,
good combination, from my opinion. But I like
well,
both of them.
And I thank you. I mean, that's kind of you, but yeah, they both have their qualities. Like I don't dislike either one. It's really hard for me to like get into my own work. Like,
And that's in
but
every
with
artist.
comics, it's different. It's like when you do comics, it's real. Like, I mean, this is going to be unpopular opinion. I know it is. Uh, but to me, what's more important when you're doing comics is storytelling.
Yes.
It's nice that you can draw. Like, there's people who do draw so well it's incomprehensible, but like they're still slaves to the story. Like that's the most important thing, telling a good story. If you're doing pinups and covers, then just go crazy with your ability.
Yeah.
And you can go crazy with your storytelling ability, like your drawing ability with your storytelling, but as long as the story is clear, concise, and that's your job when you're doing sequentials, is story, not necessarily showing off.
Gotcha.
There's times in your head you're like, I could do this cool scene, this, but does it help the story or does it hinder it because it's this isn't an important panel and you're making it into this spectacle. While two panels later, that's the money shot. Maybe you should focus on that. Uh, um, but but people in general are sometimes slaves to their ego, and they want people to go, "Wow, like look at that." But and which is fine. I'm not besmirching that. I just think when you're telling a story, the story should be your main focus and not yourself.
Yeah. Well, there's some artists who also feel, even though it's beautiful to them, they feel they could have done better. And
Yes, like oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they think they could do better, but I mean, it's gorgeous, but to them,
Yes,
they're hard critics on themselves sometimes.
there's so many people I just buy, like James Heron, his work. Unreal. Like I don't even read the story. Like I'm sorry to admit that, or Mateo Scalera when he does stuff, Albuquerque when he does stuff, Gordon Murphy when he does stuff. Alan Davis is a joy whenever he does anything. Art Adams, like there's just people. I barely read it. I just look at it, and I mean, it tells concise stories, so I don't even have to read it most times. I know what's happening. But yeah, there are those artists. But then, like Chris Somney, oh my goodness, what a amazing artist. I could go. The list goes on and on of people I just buy for art. Um, Daniel Warren Johnson, also, wow, right?
Oh, dude, his Transformer. Okay, okay, we're here to talk about Thundercats, but his
Yeah, I know.
Transformers that he's doing, I
Yeah,
have not. Okay, I've read the other ones before they've done, but this one, the story that they're doing, and it's like I'm reading Walking Dead, but it's Transformers.
yeah. I've
And
only read the first issue, and it was really good.
oh, dude, you wait till you get to the next couple issues. It like okay, I understand why they didn't do this back in the day because of course it was
Oh yeah,
catered
they
to kids.
couldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
but
couldn't.
now it's like now it's that next level of testing the boundaries and for it's not just for kids, but it's also for
Uh,
adults.
well,
It
the
is
kids who bought it then are adults now,
yeah, but they
and
can share it with their kids now too. That's a
yeah,
good part about it.
yeah,
But yeah,
it's definitely pretty hardcore.
oh yeah, it definitely is. And yeah, Daniel Warren Johnson's stuff is the story that he's putting together. I like I look forward to this season. That's why when I saw they were doing Thundercats,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, okay, who's doing the interior art? I like what I'm seeing. I want to do, and I'm like, and
Oh,
then
I appreciate that.
when I reached out, I was surprised you got back to me so soon, and I was kind of like, I want to see what they're gonna do. I know you can't tell very much of what's gonna happen, or what the story's taking, or summarization of what where we're at in the timeline. Is it like after the cartoon series, or is this a complete
No,
reboot?
we're restarting it.
So it's restarting it. So are we gonna
Like
get
it's a brand new. It's brand new, but we have it grounded in the OG, if that makes sense.
oh, nice.
So we're retelling it like they're still coming from Thundera. They're still being chased by the mutants. Things are there. There are nods to the show. Because Declan asked me actually for issue 2. He said, "What do you want to draw? Like what do you feel like drawing?" And I told him I'm a huge Thundercats fan, so I named a creature
Nice.
for one of the episodes. I was like, "I want to draw this one," and he's like, "Done. That you there's gonna be a 4-page fight, and that's what they're fighting." So I was like, "Sweet, sweet." Like,
Oh,
but
nice.
it's not exactly like the original series, but it also is exactly like the original series. It's odd. Like, we don't. Declan is telling a story that's not rushed. Like, I've done a lot of comics where we've had to fit it in 5 issues, um,
Yes.
and I know I'm doing 12. I think. Uh,
Nice.
so Declan and I are like we're on it together. So um, I've seen the whole outline up to issue 15 because I'm doing 4.
Wow.
Then we have a fill-in with somebody else, and that's a separate story that doesn't affect the main story. And then there's
Nice.
another 4, then another fill-in, another 4, and then I don't know who does it after that. Like I have no, but I've seen the first 12 issue outline. It's pretty amazing. Um,
Wow.
there's going to be an event in the first issue that's going to blow people's minds. Because when I read it, I went, no. Uh, um, yeah, like I was 9 when I was watching that show. Like every day after school. Like people call it Saturday morning cartoon. I never came on Saturday for me. It was a Monday through Friday thing.
Yeah, same
Um,
here.
like I hear people go, "Yeah, I remember Saturday morning cartoon," and I don't know about that. It was like it came on every day, and so did Silverhawks and Transformers and
Oh, dude,
He-Man,
Silverhawks.
GI Joe. Yeah, they were all every day. Only thing I like about Silverhawks, I'm not a huge fan, and Bluegrass is cool because everybody knows Bluegrass is cool, but was Monstar. What a cool villain! He rode a giant space squid.
Yes.
That's nothing cooler than riding a giant space squid. Like I remember as a kid, I went, "Oh my god, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
Well, the funny thing is, of course, Larry Kenny does bluegrass. So
Yeah.
I got uh a boxed bluegrass original in package.
Wow.
Yeah, and I found it at a toy show back in the day, like over 15 years ago. And when I first met, okay, check this out. So this is how far back I was able to. So Larry Kenny, this is like social media, Twitter, kind of how I reached out to you. I reached out to him because I was working with this convention here in San Antonio called Alamo City Comic Con, and
Nice.
they were looking to bring guests in, and I just reached out. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm working with a show. Um, do you do conventions?" I saw that he did one or two, and I asked him, and he's like, um, "Here, message me at this." So he gives me his number, message him directly, and we get him to do the first show. He comes here, he does this, he comes, does a signing and everything. We bring him down, and that's when I got to meet him. Coolest guy. I it's sometimes they tell you it's not to meet your
Heroes. Yeah.
yeah, because sometimes they can disappoint you. No, Larry Kenny is the sweetest guy ever. And he'll message me on my birthday and tell me happy birthday.
Oh,
And I
that's awesome. That's very
yeah,
kind.
yeah. So him, okay, so Optimus Prime I looked up to, Lionel, was, what we looked up to as kids growing up. And but to me, that's why when I saw this that you're doing this and they're bringing it back and they're doing it new, I had to jump on it because my love for Thundercats and Transformers goes back. And one of the things I noticed, because you've been posting some stuff of the art on for the comics on your
Yeah.
page,
Yeah.
and this one I like. So this particular one, I see that you it's kind of like the cartoon series kind of. Is this
Yes.
actually in from the comic itself, or is it just this is you?
Yes.
That
No,
is
this is the
beautiful.
scene. This is the Thundercats ho. So Thundercats, and then the
Nice.
next page is ho. I
Dude.
remember Declan, like Declan was like, "We that's got to be 2 page, like we gotta, like it's gotta, we gotta do do it justice. Like it's the first time
Wow.
he does it, and we just gotta nail it. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So you can thank Declan for that,
I'm gonna have to
for
get him on the
writing
show.
that. Oh, he'll do it. He's a we're actually doing one because he has his own podcast called Tape Deck
Oh, okay, I have to look it up.
on YouTube, and I think the last interview he did was Ed Brisson.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
so I think he does his with his collaborators. He does like a an interview with them, and they talk about I guess their collaboration in art and writing and stuff. But we're doing
Nice.
one the February 28th. But
I'm gonna have
yeah,
to
yeah.
watch.
So yeah, you should definitely reach out to him. He's a super pleasant guy. I told him today, I was like, "You're just a great human being." And
Nice.
I wish the best for you, man. Like he is. Uh, we just hit it off at the beginning. I think like just geeking out on what we are gonna do. Um, it was. I don't usually connect with people like that. Like with creatives like that I work with. Usually
Yeah.
takes time to kind of see where their sense of humor is at, and if you can joke with them or you can't. And um,
Yeah.
but with Declan, it was just like easy peasy. Like let's just do it. And he was like really asking about input. Like, what do you want to draw? And I was like, I want to draw a
Wow.
lot of sword stuff. Like I want sword play in there. I want magic and we're pushing the science angle of it too. Um,
Wow.
we're delving into Panthros past at one point. So you get
Dude,
to
are you
see like
serious?
well, we get to see like I mean, I think he did mention this interview. Like we're gonna get to see more about these characters, not just like Lion-O from point A gets in trouble at point B, and then see the Thundercats show up, defeat said villain, and then
Yeah.
rinse and repeat. We're not doing that. Uh, like you're gonna see Lion-O's um, his lack of confidence, his rash behavior, Panthro's like impatience with his pupil in a sense,
Yeah.
um, Tigra being Tigra, trying to mediate, you know, and I always feel like Chitara always knows best, like as in she's in the back watching and then knows what's happening, like, and then she like kind of schools, like, hey, like you guys, are acting ridiculous, like, like, uh, and then Wily Kid and Wily Cat are who they are. Um, they're also because you got to remember, like the way Declan wrote it, Lion-O, Wily Kid, and Wily Cat are the same age when they get into hibernation.
Yeah.
And then Lion-O's hibernation unit breaks and he
Malfunctions.
ages.
Yeah.
Um, so he's technically still like 13, 14, maybe. Their age, maybe 12.
So he's kind of
Um,
like basically a Shazam where been basically a kid in a grown-up's body basically.
Yeah, but he's also been reared to be the leader from childhood.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not without knowledge. He just doesn't have experience, right?
Yeah.
That's why if you watch the show, he makes a lot of mistakes. Like,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
how many times has he walked up to Panthro and Tyra and been like, "Should I do that?" And they're like, "Oh, absolutely not." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that." And then he goes and he does it, and then he gets in trouble, and then they go and save him. Um, but that's because he's a child at heart, right? Like
Yeah.
he's still whatever age he was when he fell asleep. But we have twists and turns. It's not the show. Uh, God, I wish I could tell you more. I can't
Oh,
wait for
dude, you
people
you
to
don't
read it.
have to. I mean, spoil anything, but like this page that you posted, this is what really got me when I saw this.
Oh,
And
his training pay.
yes, I was like, see, we never really got to see any of that in the cartoon series, and
Yeah,
I we saw some stuff, but not like this, like Panthros actually looks like he's training him in how to fight, kind of like Luke Skywalker with the blindfold.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So and that's what I was like, oh dude, I was like, it sold me. It sold me when I saw this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and
Those
I was
little
kind of,
units are breakable. Like Declan explained them as like they break when they get hit. That's why they break perfectly in half. Um,
oh, nice.
so they can put them back together and reuse them.
Oh, dude, that is, and like I said, so like I said, the artwork for me is the big thing. And when I found who the artist was, I started going through your page and I started seeing the things that you were posting. And when I saw the first, this piece as well, I was like, nice. You're still giving them something new, but still paying homage to the characters.
So
And
many
that
people are hating on pants.
I
Like,
I
why
don't
do
know
they have
why.
pants? Like,
It's
I'm
dude.
sorry. It's 2024, man. It's okay to wear pants. It's all right. Like, we can all agree it's okay.
Yeah, well, I
Uh,
mean, it's like when the same thing with Superman when they took away his his underwears and they made him like a full suit pant.
yeah, I
You're
mean
not
that's
gonna make
fine.
everybody happy though, man. You can't make. That's the bad thing about it.
Well,
You won't be able to make everybody happy.
like the changes I made, like Chitara's thighs, because I kept thinking of Olympic sprinters, like Joyner
Yeah.
Kersey and stuff, right?
Yep.
She had those long nails too, the colored ones. Um,
Yes.
uh, I looked at Olympic sprinters, like that's what her body type is. It's not like people are thinking she should be skinny, like she's a marathon runner. She's not. She's a sprinter.
Yeah.
Uh, she doesn't like. Sure, she could go long distances, but when you're going 100 miles an hour, you can go pretty far, pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um, but and then Tiger with, I didn't think the mustache was gonna go. I didn't think Warner Brothers was gonna be cool with that.
No,
Uh,
I like it,
uh,
dude. I like it. It's a different spin. It's kind of like that. How can I put it in right words? Um, I get a Tom Selleck vibe.
yeah,
Like,
I was trying to like age him a little more than everyone else. Just not like old, but just because he's like the architect. He's like the scientist. The like
yes.
that's him. So I wanted him to be slightly different, And then he's got the ninja pants, of course, and he's got to have the
Nice.
pouches um, for whatever chemicals or tools he needs, and then the kids still have the little bombs. Um,
Nice.
and that they have like hover. They're not less skate. Well, they're kind of like surfboards, but more like skateboards. I kick the noses up a little because I used to skateboard a lot as a child.
Oh, nice.
I skateboarded like everywhere from Philadelphia to Orlando. Me and my friends would go everywhere and skate. So I incorporated that into like into to their movements, not just surfing, but like skateboarding and snowboarding and stuff. Um, but yeah, they have hoods, and I gave them like more modern. Like I actually looked at some like Korean and Japanese. You know how they have that like streetwear, like it's
Yes.
like I pulled some designs from that, like not exact, but like the aesthetic
Yes.
for theirs because I wanted them to be more youthful, um, and not. I don't know. I felt like the old designs were awesome, so I kind of wanted to join them with what's kind of new.
Yeah,
Um,
and then it's even the same thing with Wiley Kit, her hair. I like the style that you did with her hair. You did it different from the cartoon series as well.
yeah, it felt very grandmotherly when I look
Yeah.
back at the Wiley Keough. She's got that like kind of beehive thing going.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, let's kind of go. Like, I love anime and manga as well. Um,
Nice.
I'm so I was like, well, let's try and pull some of that influence into her hair design. Um, Everything's been pulled from so many different places. I mean, only person I say is close to the original, the closest is Panthro.
No.
Um, he's perfect, pretty much the way he is. Other than I gave him ninja shoes and pants. Like,
No,
you know,
I like
the
the
one
ninja shoes.
toes. Yeah, I do too. He's supposed to be the fight, and I made him shorter and stocky. You
Yeah.
know, I felt like, you know, he's kind of like the Wolverine to me in a sense.
Haha,
Remember back in the day,
nice.
Wolverine used to be the like mentor for a lot of the young ones.
Yes.
But he's also like 5'2" and also 5'2" wide. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. He was
he
very
was
like
like,
stocky.
yeah. So I tried to kind of do that with Panthro. Like that's why he's shorter than all the adult cats. You know, but he's also kind of wider than all the adult cats too. Like, uh, yeah, I love Panther is great, but my favorite has always been Tigra.
Nice. So the question I wanted to ask as well was, okay, so when they approached you for this IP,
Yeah.
did they just come out to you, or did you already know that you were trying out for this IP? So how did this
No, well,
work?
here's the interesting. That's an interesting story, actually. Uh, I was finishing up Gargoyles Dark Ages. I think I was on the last issue, so that was like end of October, beginning of November, right before New York Comic Con.
Okay, okay.
Um, I get an email from Nate Cosby, the editor, and he goes, "Have you ever drawn Thundercats?" And I didn't even think. I was like, "Yeah, of course I have." Like, why would like yeah, of course, why wouldn't I? I've drawn Thundercats before. He's like, well, can you send me some of the drawings you've done? And I looked everywhere. There's not one Thundercat out there. I was like, I know I've drawn these guys, like at least Mumra. Um, and now I couldn't find anything. So I emailed him and I was like, look, man, I can't find anything, but I know I've drawn them before. He's like, well, don't worry about it. You know, it's fine. And so I emailed him back. I drew a picture of Lionel. Like I drew like a quick pencil sketch of Lionel. I sent it to him. Didn't hear anything, and I got so. I told you I'm insatiable when it comes to this sort of thing. Not I got inspired, so I did a Panthro, then I did a Mumra, and
Wow.
then I did a Tigra. Like not because he asked me for them, but because I was just having fun that weekend drawing them, and I would send each one to him every time I finished it. So I'm really fast. So I probably did
Dang.
all four of those in like a 2 days from Friday to early Sunday. Um, and then Monday he emailed me and said, "Hey man, I can officially offer you Thundercats." And I was like, "For real? They're doing a Thundercats book? And Dynamite's doing it?" And he was like, "Yeah. You know, don't tell anybody because, like, you know, it's a Warner Brothers and all." Um, And then later he told me, he goes, you know why? He goes, you got the job. And I said, why? He's like, because you were relentless. You just kept sending stuff. And they were just like, man, he must be really into this. Uh, so that's how I got the Thundercats job. It was um, my being insatiable and I guess the love of the property, which hurt my feelings a little when they first announced it, and I saw somebody sent me a link to a few people who are just like, "This has gotta be crap. These guys won't know anything about Thundercats and blah blah. It's a hard pass for me and this and that." I was like, "Man, if you guys only knew like how much we really like do love the property and we like you know, to keep your mouth shut during all that. Like, dude, you guys don't even understand. It's awesome. Like, we're gonna do some cool stuff. Like, just give us a shot. Like, we're gonna show you some. We're gonna show you what you want to see. Because it's what we want to see. So, uh, yeah, the first designs I did were a little far out. Um, and I remember they're like, no, uh, we want. Warner Brothers wanted it. They let us have all the freedom we want, but we had to keep it kind of grounded in the original. And when they said that, those designs that you saw, that's the first pass. Like,
Oh,
like there were like it's crazy. Like those, that was the first pass. Like, only, and they just were like, "That's rad. We like that." So um, I was shocked, especially with Tigra, because I kind of when I got the first three approvals for Panthro, Lionel, and Chitara, which I thought Chitara was a maybe because of her body type. I didn't
Yeah.
know if they would be cool with that because it's different than the old one. Um, but they liked the running shoes and they liked her whole vibe. Uh, so when I did the next three, I was I pushed it a little harder. So if you see those three, you can tell they're more of a departure from the original, except for Wily Cat. Um, and I was like, man, they're gonna totally think get rid of that mustache. Like that's not gonna work. But no, they're like, we love it. So it was, and then the mutants and all that. Mumra's essentially the same. He's not that different from the original. But we want people to like the book, but then we also want to like doing it. Um, and if we were just telling the same story, wouldn't everybody be like, "Oh, this is like Force Awakens. This is just the same story again."
Yeah.
We've seen it even, and that was a big complaint, right? And then we do Thundercats. Somebody would be like, I would be like, that's a cash grab. They're just trying to tell the same story again. Like I want
Yeah.
something new. Either continue the main story or give me something new.
See,
And
the
we're
main
just doing
story,
giving you something.
yeah, main story was
Oh,
kind
go
of
ahead.
a little bit hard to do because it was
Yeah,
made catered more to the kids at that time.
yeah. And then even the comic in the 2000s was I loved it because the Ed McGuinness art was
Oh yeah.
unreal. But I always felt like that was still felt like a kid's book.
Yeah,
Um,
to a certain point, it was still kind of towards the kids.
yeah, and then that one the series we shall not speak of. Uh,
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Very, very well, sir.
uh, that series was total departure, and like you want to talk about an overcorrection, right? Like
Yeah,
like um and like to me, Declan, like and Declan said he caught the series. He was really young, but he had the toys as like a small child and stuff. So anything he doesn't remember, he asks me. He goes, "Hey, um, if I remember correctly, this," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right, but don't forget, like we can't do that because of this." And but then we can do it because we're not tied to the original series. And Declan reminds me of that. Like we can do what we want. We can do nods. We're not like chained to the original series. Um, the story ideas and choices he makes are amazing. Uh, everybody, I'm telling you, they're gonna love it. They really are. Because every time I read it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Uh, that's so cool. If I could just tell you, man, issue 3, jeez,
well,
just like
see,
what's
and this
gonna.
is the thing. We need more creators like you and Declan who love the IPs and they're giving fans what, as a kid, what they had wanted to see. And that's what,
Oh,
when you have two people like that, that's when stuff works. Is when you have someone who doesn't really know the IP and it's a job and they're writing for it, it's kind of hard. And
well, and you can tell, right?
yes, exactly. And
Like you're
that's the
like, oh,
biggest
did
thing.
they just watch the series yesterday? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, did they watch that episode and then they went, "Oh, I'm gonna write this exact same thing"? Uh,
Yes, that is the
yeah,
truth.
I feel like that happened. Well, I don't know. I guess I haven't seen it happen too much, but no, I can't because I can't cite examples. But I know I've read stuff and go, "Oh, I don't know if this guy really knows about this." um,
So I have one other question for you. So the iconic vehicle that we know of.
yes,
I noticed on here, there's one page that you have here. I'm not too sure what issue this is.
that's issue 1. It's actually
So
the second and third page.
nice. I like the way you have the top piece and then in the very, very bottom. I take it this is where they just landed on the planet and they're scoping the whole area out?
Yeah, they're wearing their spacesuits.
Yes, that's what okay, perfect.
But you
Uh,
see the Lino midriff?
yeah.
I did that on purpose, just because he doesn't have a midriff on his uniform or his
Y
costume. Uh,
yes.
and I wanted to just do a little nod. And plus, he's supposed to be breaking out of his suit.
Yeah,
So,
because he grew out of it. He hulked out of it, basically.
yes. So, but I wanted to do the midriff specifically because it's petty of me. I did it because there was a bunch of people when it was announced um, mentioned that when they saw the costume, how he's missing the midriff he has covered. So I did that for you guys. You got your midriff. You can stop complaining. Uh,
Oh, that's too funny. So, when you got the call and you finally they're telling you, "Yes, you got the job because 'cause you're persistent," um, you know okay, getting back, like me, if you would've told me when I was young like you and that 20 years well, actually, no, I'm older than that, like, I'm 47. So, yeah, 27 years later that I'll be able to interview and talk to Lino and artists like you, because back in the day, us people who read comics and were geeks, we kept that hidden to a certain extent
yes.
back in the day because that wasn't cool.
Well, we're the same age.
Oh, so we're the same age? Oh, okay, nice. But
Yeah. So yes, I remember in high school I worked at a comic shop, and I didn't care because I was skateboarding. I was already not uh the I don't know in thing.
yeah.
Um, so I remember talking about comics and somebody would be like, "That's baby stuff." Like, why are you into that baby? And I'm not going to use the expletive, but why aren't you in that baby stuff? And then they would pick on me, and then one of them, after everybody would leave, like, "Man, X-Men are dope." Uh, like, but they wouldn't say it in public. It was like
yes.
something you had to hide. Um, because then you what nerd stuff? That's nerd stuff. Why are you acting like a
Yes.
baby? Um, but yeah, I mean, so many people I knew, I'd see them in the comic shop. I'm like, "Oh, you read comics?" And they're like, "Yeah." But in school, it was like, no, don't even mention. Don't. Like, I'm not trying to be a part of that. Like, I don't need that heat.
Yes, and now it's like everyone now, it's okay, it's free.
That's
Everyone
awesome.
can, be geeks and so same thing growing up in high school. I like basketball, I liked art, and one of my dad too, he used to tell me, "You watch too much TV, you watch too much cartoons." I'm 47, I still watch cartoons. I don't care what anybody tells me. But when, you know, people like you are doing what you love drawing comics because everything if guys if you don't go to his social media page you can see all the type of stuff he does Spider-Man he does and this is another one because I'm part of Star Wars Stuff podcast as well so we have to show some Star Wars stuff that he's done too so he's also
Oh,
done a Darth Maul piece. This one I liked. Was this one just like a commission piece or was this something that you just
yeah. 99.9% of what you see are always commissions.
wow
They always come in. I usually do them in between. Like, I do this thing. If you ever see the hashtag drawing in cars,
yes
I do that. I started that, and I'm gonna say I started because I never saw it before. Only reason I do that, um, my youngest son, who is now 12, my oldest is 20. Um, when he was in first grade, I'd say, I go to parent pickup, right? Um, and he always liked to see me first. So I would get there. I still do it. Get there an hour early. So
wow
I'd be like number one. There's always somebody ahead of me, but one or two, right? So he'd see me first. And in the car, I just take something like a commission, like a headshot or sometimes pages, and I would draw in the car. And then I take a picture of it when my son was getting in the car and I post it, drawing in cars. That's why I do that. Like people don't, they see it and they're like, do you draw when you drive? Or something? No, I'm in a parent pickup line. I'm sitting in front of a school for an hour, maybe an hour, 20 minutes. And I work, so I just draw. And it's only just because, yeah, I want my son to be happy. So, um, If
That
you
is
ever see
nice.
it, that's why. So I do those commissions in between that most times. I draw the pages. Actually, Thundercats was the first issue I've drawn all traditionally in 10 years
Oh
because I've been
wow.
doing it mostly digital, except for splash pages and covers. I do those traditionally because splash pages I can sell.
Oh yeah.
But Declan convinced me to do the entire issue traditionally, which I did. He said, "Well, you're going to sell it, so
Oh
you
dude,
should
you're
do."
you're 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 gonna make a killing from the
Oh yeah, well the
Thundercats
first issue's
fans.
gone.
Oh.
One person bought the whole first issue. Crazy, right? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's gone. So many people have contacted me about pages, and they're very upset. Uh, but um, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. He bought the entire issue. So
So what
uh,
was your reaction when he said, "I'll buy the whole thing"?
I had 5 or 6 people offer to buy the whole thing.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, crazy, right? Never had that happen. So, um, but yeah, one person got it. It's pretty crazy. So I don't know. Hopefully, maybe. Well, not hopefully. The other issues, maybe pages go up, maybe they don't. I don't know. It's really all new to me. I just got art representation, so I usually do it myself, but now I have an art rep, and he takes care of everything. So his
Nice.
name's Quan Chang. Quan's the man. I love that guy. He represents people like Chris Bocciolo and Olivier Copiel and Jerome
Nice.
Opina and stuff. So I'm very fortunate to get someone like him. I guess I don't really know how it all works, man. I wish I did, but I know one thing. I can just draw and not worry about all that haggling and negotiation and whatever's going on, and I can just work. Uh, um, that is worth what he's getting. So,
Dude.
and he's super cool dude. I like him.
Well, hopefully I will hopefully I would love to try to get a page eventually if I could.
Yeah, I would
I
hope you
have to,
can too.
yeah, because Thundercats, like I said, Thundercats, Transformers. So I got to work. I didn't show you that when we were conversating, setting up this interview. I actually got to do a piece for I'll show you right now. I have it right here actually. So I'm a Transformer fan. So we did an exclusive for Alamo City. And
Oh, sweet.
so I wanted to pay
I love
homage.
the Jurassic Park.
That's yes. Yeah, and it says when Dinobots ruled the world.
Oh, that's cool.
So when I got to
Jurassic.
work with yeah, when I worked with Chris Collier on this, I basically just told him, "Hey, this is an idea." And he just put it together and that was the exclusive. And the Alamo's in the background and
That
everything.
is sweet. That's a
So
great cover.
yeah, and dude, it sold out like crazy. I mean,
That's
literally
wonderful.
at the convention, sold out. Everybody because it was only an exclusive con exclusive for
So
Alamo
was it?
City.
Did you guys have to order a certain amount, like 1,200 copies or something like that?
I think it was like 3,000 copies. I think,
Whoa! You sold out of that. Good for
dude,
you.
dude, this thing sells online for like $200 to $300.
Wow, good for you, man. I there you go. That's
So,
awesome. That's great. That's wonderful.
but see, when you have fans like you and me who love this stuff and do things like this, I think that's what makes it more um how can I proper find the proper wording for it? Um where true fans will see the difference between fake and real. And when they see
Yeah,
that, they can tell.
it's so like objective, isn't it? Like uh it matters. Like all I hope is that it creates a memory for those people that they carry later in their lives. Whether like okay, man, I did these toy boxes for Hasbro, right?
Yeah.
Like never did I think I would ever draw toy designs and toy boxes and video game stuff. But I got to do these toy designs, and I was telling a friend, I was like, "Yeah, you can buy them in Walmart or Target or whatever." And he goes, "Check this out, man. Imagine this. 10 years down the line, there's gonna be some kid, or 20 years, 30 years, that goes, "Hey, remember this toy? Remember the art on that box? Wasn't that awesome? Like that's like part of his life." And I was like, "Well, are you sure?" He goes, "Well, think back to your life. What about those Transformer boxes or those GI Joe boxes?"
Yes.
And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I totally understand." So, like I said, whether it's true to what we remember or what we believe is the legit stuff, as long as they have a good memory and carry it to their future, and reminisce on it and gives them happiness, that's all I want. Um, like I would love for everyone to have a genuine happy memory of something I did would be immeasurable to me. Um, like I don't look for a lot of things. Like when I got this gig, and it's nice to have regular work.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and people are like, this is gonna come with a lot of things. Like this could really do some stuff for you, and the future is bright. And to be honest, all I want is maybe a few days off with my family,
Yeah.
uh, and that's it. Like I would like that, to take a weekend off and hang out with my wife and kids. Like all that other stuff's okay, but it genuinely, I would just like that. Like I don't know. I guess I don't care for a lot. It's just that's what I want. I want that, and like I said, making people happy. I really like that. When I do a commission or something, and they get it, they're just like, oh, "This is great," and it makes me feel good that they're happy. It makes me happy. So, um, maybe sometimes I could not do the commissions and just sleep, but
Well, all I can tell you is you better start getting ready because once you start doing these conventions and people know that you're gonna be there, your commission list, you're gonna have to
uh,
start taking, dude. I'm telling you, that's how. Like me, when I started doing all these conventions, Emerald City,
yeah.
um,
I
Wizard
want
at
to
that
do
time.
Emerald City. I always stay on the East Coast, uh, but this year I may travel out. I'll be in Boston in August. I always stay. I do Heroes Con every year for like the past 14 years. Um, but I always stay on the East Coast. I think the furthest I've been out is Memphis.
Okay, okay. So you never
Um,
come to Texas either?
I would love to come to Texas, but no one's ever invited me. Uh, man, I gotta think about my bottom line, and like now it's nice. People are inviting me to shows and flying me out, giving me hotel rooms and stuff. But that wasn't the case a year ago, 2 years ago. Uh,
Get ready, man.
every
Get
once in a
ready.
while it would happen, but it wouldn't happen often enough. So now it's nice that shows are inviting me, and I'm taking the ones I can, and to the people who asked me if they watch this, and I told you in an email, so I now I can tell you how, like, for real, when I say I can't do two shows one back to back, I just can't because my body can't take it.
Oh
Uh,
no, man. It's
yeah,
work. It's work. Even though it's a con and you think it's gonna be
yeah,
fun,
it
it's
takes me a
actually
week to
work.
recover.
Yes.
And like I had to turn a couple shows down because I was like, I already have a show this week, and your show's the next week. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but I can't do it. I can't do two shows in a row. I didn't explain it like in depth, but now I am. It wrecks me if I'm gone for 4 days because of Thursday you got to get there, set up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, fly back on Monday.
Yes.
Like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm still trying. I gotta work on a comic book at the same time. It's a rough week, and then to have to pack up again and go. Like no disrespect, but I can't do it. Um, I'm not a young man anymore. I can't. When I was young, I would do shows almost every weekend. I can't do it. Um, and I love everyone out there who comes out and says hello. But like I physically, I just God,
Well,
it wrecks me.
with this Thundercat line and what you're doing so far, the pages you've done already, I can
Wait till
guarantee
you see
you.
issue 2. I'm
Dude,
really excited.
I can't wait just for issue 1, and, I mean, like, when I read Transformers number 1, I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? You're making me wait till" like, they leave you hanging on that last page,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Oh,
"Oof."
you can't. You don't even know. I wish in a week you can message me on Facebook and you can be like, "Oh my god, dude! Like you didn't tell me. Like that's crazy." Uh, but yes.
So
Um,
we didn't even get to the point where what were your reactions when you saw the orders at 170, sold or pre-ordered for the issue 1?
well, that's what's crazy. That it was 2 Fridays ago, I think.
Yes.
I was on the way. Well, we called my wife and I. We call them dad and mom. They're our surrogate family in a sense. So we were going to go to their house to celebrate because we didn't get to celebrate Christmas together. So we are
Okay.
going to their house. I live in southeastern Virginia, and they live in Richmond. So we were driving up there, and I got a text. I think from no, I got a notification from LinkedIn that Nick, the
Yeah.
Barucci, had announced that we had broken 100,000.
Whoa.
And then I got a message from Declan about it, and then I got an email from my editor about it, all at like one time, while we're driving up, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is insanity!" Like, and then all of a sudden, all these people were like messaging me, like congratulating me, and I was like, "Dude, I really don't know what's going on." And then that Saturday, they announced the Rob Liefeld cover.
Yeah.
And then that Sunday, I was told we hit over 170. Um,
Yep.
I think I can say this now, but that Tuesday, I think we're over 200.
What?
I think so. I was
Wow.
told by a source that we hit over 200.
Wow. That is
Uh,
so cool.
and I was like, that's when all the convention invites all started happening. These past 2 weeks have been insane, man. Uh,
Well, thank you for reaching back to me and coming on the
oh, I'm
show
sorry
before
I
it
was
got
sick
full
last
crazy.
week.
Oh, dude, don't even you coming on the show, and it's I'm happy that you came on and you're able to come on and talk about it. I'm glad you're feeling better and everything. But dude, thank you for, coming back and responding to me because I'm pretty sure
Oh,
you're
any
getting hit left and right from everybody
yeah, but
now.
you were so nice. Um, like I I don't know, man. Kindness is a thing. Like not me
Oh
be
yeah.
me to you, but you to me. Uh, when people are genuinely kind and their manners are great, like you can just see kind of who they are, and you're like, oh, it's not a problem at all.
Oh,
Because
thank
not
you.
everybody's so nice. Trust me. But you came off so genuine that I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally do it.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
and this has been fun, man. I don't do a lot of podcasts, but this is probably one of my favorites. It was fun.
Well, cool thing is not just that we do the podcast. We work with a convention, actually 2 conventions here in San Antonio. I actually know 3.
Oh my
This
goodness.
yeah, so
Um,
we do panels like we did. It's a superhero car show. We do
Okay,
panels for that show. There's Space Con that's coming up in October next year. That's gonna have Star
please.
Trek, Star Wars, actors and stuff.
I did a Star
But
Wars comic.
oh, we see that's another thing too. So now that we're working with these conventions and I have connections with you, maybe I can
Yeah,
get you to come down to Texas.
I would love to come to Texas. Especially my son's best friend is stationed near San Antonio. He's in the Air Force.
Oh yes, yeah.
So he's been there a few times already, but I would love to see the Alamo. How awesome would that be? Like, and I'm sorry, your Spurs are horrible, uh, but I like to see Wembanyama play. And uh, I'm a Sixers fan. I've been a Sixers fan for 24 years. Uh,
Nice.
uh, so yeah, seeing. I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad the Spurs have always been good in my life.
I
It's
didn't know you were a
odd.
basketball fan.
Yeah, so it's odd seeing them not be good. And with Popovich, I would love to see Popovich coach once. Um, just because I have mad respect for him. Like I'm a
Nice.
Sixers fan, but I respect the basketball, you know?
I
And
mean,
he's
technically,
always
Larry Brown was your coach from
I
Spurs too.
know he was one of our best coaches. He got us to the finals, like, you
Yep.
know? It's and Iverson's from here where I live.
Oh,
Like he went to high
nice.
school at a competing school. We're the same age. So
Wow.
he went to Bethel. I went to Phoebus. Um, I got to see him play once on a just a elementary school basketball court. Uh, like I was in high school at the time, so he was also I think he had just won state championship in football. Um, so yeah, he was killing everybody. And I also saw him once driving out of my apartment. He had this like maroon Bentley,
Wow,
and
dude.
he's pulling into the parking lot, and I was like, "Is that Iverson?" And he just gave me a peace symbol and just kept going. Like, oh my God, it is
Dude,
Iverson. But
that's
no,
freaking awesome.
um, yeah, I would love to come to Texas sometime. Um, yeah, San Antonio seems like a nice place.
Well, now that I know you're a basketball fan, that's even more we're together on the same page. Basketball, dude, basketball and football are my favorites as well. So it was kind of hard because you couldn't like both. You couldn't be a guy who likes sports and be a geek at the same time. So you
Yeah,
kind of
it's
had to
odd.
hide. Yeah, so you kind of had to hide it. So, okay, so I haven't told you this part. So when I worked at a comic book store here in San Antonio, we did another variant cover and we got to do this piece. And this is
Oh,
the
I can't
Tim
see it with
Duncan.
the glare. Oh, I
The
see it.
This
Nice.
was the Tim Duncan Marvel Punisher cover.
Wow.
Yeah. So same thing. It was an exclusive for Alamo City, the comic book store. And when they asked us, they're like, "Oh, we want to do a variant cover." And I pitched, out of the blue. I just said, "Hey, what if we were to get, because he owned a body shop at the time, sports shop."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if you get him to have him make a car and have him, his favorite characters, Deadpool, the Crow, and the Punisher.
Nice.
And a lot of people didn't know that at that time frame. And so when I actually walked into the Blackjack Speed Shop, asked the manager, say, hey, I work for this comic book store. This is an idea. I don't know if Tim would be down. 2 days later, I get a call back and he's like, yeah, Tim's in. And I
Nice.
was and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "No." So now we had to sell it to Marvel, and that was another process in itself. But
Yeah. Yeah.
when yeah, it was crazy, but it's cool that you love basketball.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, so it's kind of like a perfect.
Oh man, I love watch Duncan play. You know what was weird about Duncan? He could play all 48 minutes and you wouldn't know he was playing at all, and all of a sudden you're like, man, how did he get 30 and 14? Like I don't even remember him getting like four. Like
Yeah.
he was just so like low key. He would score the whole game and you were like, I don't know how he's doing it. Like, yeah, he's probably best power forward ever. Uh I uh, I love when they crush the Lakers in the playoffs. No disrespect to Kobe and all them. I always respected Kobe as a player, but I just can't stand the Lakers in their fair
I
weather
do.
fans.
You're right here, man. You Me and you, Laker rivalry. And the funny thing is, Shaq played here in San Antonio High School at
Oh yeah,
Cole High School. Yeah, in Cole High School, he played here before he even went to the NBA.
that guy
And
was a amazing player. I still and I hear amazing person. Like in general,
yeah,
just a quality guy. You don't hear like that type of thing about a lot of professional athletes, but I hear so many stories about that guy just being generous and kind, um, the silly personality he does on TV and all that. But then you got to remember he's a person too, and for him, he doesn't have to do that stuff.
yeah, no,
He chooses
it's
to.
yeah, exactly. And it's rare you find people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. And he did those cheap shoes for Walmart for a bit, so kids could have cheap basketball shoes, like that they could. If you couldn't afford them, at least you could get some decent shoes there. Um,
Yep. Well, I
uh,
don't want to take up more of your time because it's, I didn't expect to keep you on this long, but
oh, it's
it,
fine.
and I know you got to get back to work, and you
Yeah,
said
I
you're.
work till like 3 in the morning anyway.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I work till like 2 to 3, and then I wake up at like 7:30. Take my kids, well, my son to school, and then I usually take a nap around noon. But then I'm back up. Um, that's generally my life until the weekend. It's pretty crazy. I survive on like 4 to 5 hours sleep a day until Friday. Then I sleep in on Saturday and Sunday. But then I'm Monday through Friday. It's the same every day. It never changes. It's
Right.
the only way to finish comic books.
Wow.
You gotta have discipline. You gotta get your work done when you have deadlines. So um,
So I was going to ask you about this since you brought this up, and since I'm going to probably have questions after issue one. I don't know if you're down. I'm pretty sure you're going to be crazy busy, but maybe after issue 2 or 3, come back on and where we could talk spoilers if you want to, if you're
sure,
up to it.
sure,
Um,
sure.
and then
Um,
you can kind of give a little bit more backstory of what this, went into this, and you know what I
well, how
mean.
about this? We wait because since I'm doing the first four, and then we have a fill-in artist on number five. It's like a story that doesn't pertain to the main storyline.
Yeah.
When the issue four comes out, we can discuss what you think's gonna happen the
Okay. Yeah,
next
that'd be
arc.
pretty cool to right there.
And I won't tell you yes or no, but I like to hear what you think's gonna happen because it's pretty every issue. It's pretty crazy, man. Oh God, Declan's so good. Uh, like I sing his praises, and he always says I'm being too kind. I'm not kissing his ass. Like I really enjoy his stories. He's very good at telling a story. He's very good at pacing. He's very good at giving you something, but also hiding something. So
Nice.
so you're like, oh, that's cool, but wait, like, what does that mean? And then you think into it, and you're like, God, I can't wait till they get into that. Um, but he's very good at since they're giving us that freedom of time. He doesn't have to rush.
See, and that's the
So
thing when when you're rushed. I think that's when quality is cut when you're in
yeah,
a
well,
rush.
it usually what happens is the last issue, all the story stuff just wraps up like that. Um, where it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, like all of a sudden, all the character development's out the window. Every page has like 9, 10 panels because they're trying to fit as much story as they can. Your splash pages are gone. Like anything
Yeah.
that's big is because they just gotta fit that story in there. Um, because they had all this time the first 3 or 4 issues, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, we have one issue to tie it up. While this, like I said, man, I read the outline, um, and the 9-year old in me, yeah, he was like, he was just like, all right, man, like you did it, awesome, like, well, not me, Declan actually, but I got to be a part of it. I got to be a part of something. If you had told me when I was 9 that I'd get to do this, I would have laughed my ass off, and I would have been like, no way, no way, no, no. And um,
Well,
I
dude,
feel very fortunate.
congratulations on, getting this opportunity to do something that you grew up watching. And a
Yeah,
lot of people don't get a chance to do that.
yeah. I'm finding out like I'm very oblivious to a lot of things. People usually have to tell me like, hey, like this is a big deal, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just a job, right? And I don't even think Declan or anybody expected what happened with the sales. No one did. I like Declan was like, this is insanity. Um, the editor, like Nate, was like, I like this is crazy. Like, the fan base is really behind it. I hope we don't disappoint them. I really don't think we are, to be honest. I think, uh, I think we'll be. I think right now it's like the talk of the town. But I'm telling you, the second that Ninja Turtle series comes out with those four people, they'll be like, Thundercats. This new
Oh
this
man.
new Ninja Turtle series is the thing. Because
No, we
I'm
need a live action Thundercats movie and
or a
them
TV
to
show.
oh dude, yeah. That too.
Like give because if it's a TV show, you give it time. Like you can
Yes.
spread the story out. Like I'm telling you, Declan is gonna give you insight into these Thundercats you've never seen before. Like you never thought of as a kid. Like, did you ever care where Panther came from? Like like
Wow.
like his history, like or Chitara or Tiger or the kids, like Wily Kid, Wily Cat, where are their parents?
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, that's not a story thing, by the way. That's just something I thought of. But I'm just like these are the questions you never ask. Like, who are these kids that are just there? Like, like,
I never thought about that as a kid. I just
yeah,
thought they were part of the family. I didn't even snap
yeah.
to
They don't
that.
have parents there. Those adults there are just adults. They're not their. They're not that. They're their surrogate family, but they're not their family. Family, you know. Um,
Yeah.
like I think. Well, I can't say because that's issue two. There, like, there's a conversation between the cats, the kits and cats, and Lino that's really interesting. Um, yeah, like I said, Declan delves into the characters. It's not just like wham bam, let's slice this up and kill this. There's a lot of action. See the previews they showed you. They did show 11 pages. The first issue is 24.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so uh, they didn't show you any of the action, which is like
Oh.
the last half of the issue. Um, but it doesn't crutch on action. I will say it crutches on story. It's going to make you care about all these characters. And the one question no one has asked, which I can't wait for somebody to ask, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, uh, but I'm waiting for somebody to ask a certain question so I can go. I can't tell you.
Oh man, I can't wait. So guys, go to his socials. So if people, want to get a commission from, oh, I know your list is it's gonna go through the roof after this. If people want commissions or anything like that, you open it on your socials and say, hey, I have an
Um,
open list, or when you're not busy doing your artwork for comics, or
right now, I'm picking some up for signings. I have I'm doing a signing at Nirvana Comics in Knoxville. And then the next weekend, I'm doing the Secret Lair in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And then in March, I'm doing a tour of Ultimate Comics. I think they have 3 shops. It'll
oh
take a
wow.
whole weekend. So I'm doing them there. Or if anybody contacts me for those specific locations, which I've had um, for a couple of them, uh, I'm doing them for them. I think I have like two. I have a list, maybe 2 or 3 that aren't part of that. But in general, anything like you got to catch. I'll be at Richmond Galaxy Con in Virginia because I'm in Virginia, but I'll be doing Galaxy Con in March. Then the one in Boston, Wicked Con in Boston in August. Um, but the commission list is low. I mean, is hard to get on just because I got to draw this comic book. Um, but I do take them. Like it's just like I'm honest with you. I'm like this is going to take 4 to 6 weeks, or if it's something super complicated, I just can't. Like not right now.
Hey,
I just
that's a good thing to worry about right
yeah
there.
yeah.
A wait list, you know what I mean? So people are like, hey, let me get a couple of $100 for this sketch cover
Oh
book,
well,
or
if the big commissions are probably going to be handled by my art rep anyway. Like I little headshots and stuff. Like you saw the Darth Maul and um, yeah, the Darth Maul, and you can look at my socials and see all the headshots. Those aren't a problem. It's the full body, like the Lino I
Yes.
did with him holding the sword up. That was Declan actually commissioned that.
Oh, are you serious? That's his original piece?
Yeah, that's it. You know what's messed up? I spilled ink all over that, so I have to redo it.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I spilled the whole this right here, this whole jar of ink on it.
Oh, dang.
But luckily, I had scanned it in before uh, I I did it. So I do have to do that. Declan, I told Declan, I was like, dude, I'll have it. He's gonna be at Richmond GalaxyCon too.
Nice.
So that GalaxyCon got like I want to say close to 4,000 copies of their own Thundercats cover.
Wow.
So we'll be signing all weekend.
Man, they're
Um,
gonna keep you busy, man.
yeah, you know what? Uh, Nothing's free, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, and I don't expect any kind of different treatment. So, uh, I'm just, I, I'm just grateful, man. I'm very fortunate. Like, who gets to do this? Like, I mean, it's not even like I'm not. It's not even like actors and stuff like that. But it's something as a child. Like,
You never dreamed of.
well, I mean, like, well, perfect example, right? My whole life, there's this guy. Well, most of my life, there's this guy who was an artist, who's in every class I've been in until middle school, and everybody was like, "That's the guy." He's and even in high school, when he was in high school, that guy's the he's gonna be the artist. Like he's gonna be and like I had no like competition with the guy. He was actually a really close friend of mine until middle school when he became very cool and I was not. Uh I was like a tubby uh
Right there with you, man.
antisocial kid. Like I not to blame other kids. I was very antisocial. Um so this kid was always known as the artist and everybody always told him he was great, which he was, um, but he was never motivated to be better because everybody always told him he was the best. So after
Yes.
that, no one ever told me I was the best for sure, nor did I think I was, um, but I had that motivation to get better, the drive. So um, I'm very fortunate that I wasn't the best or was seen as that because it gave me a drive to be better. And that guy does retail now.
Wow.
So like it it's art is to me 10% talent and 90% effort.
Yeah.
Um, like anybody can become a great artist if you put 90% effort into it. You could not be able to draw like a circle or a straight line, but if you drew a circle and straight line every day, you would draw the best circles and straight lines. It's effort, not talent, that gets you someplace. Um, so I had the effort, he had the talent, and I just fortunate to know the or be in certain places at certain times,
Yep.
and it all just fell into place. Perfect storm.
Things
Um,
are meant to happen sometimes.
I hope that is true, and I hope after Thundercats, who knows, man? Like whatever it is, I'll do my best. Uh,
Hey, hey, you're on the right track, sir.
I hope
So,
so. And you
you
know
know,
what? Like we can reflect back if that happens. If I get something else crazy, we can do another thing, and we can be like, dude, remember when you got Thundercats and we thought that was nuts? Uh,
hey man, so getting back to this podcast stuff. Um I'm kind of like you. I know nothing about I've always been behind the scenes for everything.
okay.
I always have the good ideas for stuff. Um but I've always been behind the scenes. I don't like being in front of I don't like taking pictures. I don't like being in front of the camera. This me and you are doing right now.
Yeah.
This is taking a lot of hard work to do because I don't like being in front of a camera.
Oh,
But I love comics and I love all this. And
yeah.
the person I work with who created Countdown to the Geek Cast told me you have a lot to bring. You need to get out and get better at what you can do. And because of him, that's why I'm doing this right now. And
You're doing
it's nerve
great.
it's nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking. But getting to talk to people like you and make it feel very comfortable. And because always, as I guess just us humans, we always hate how some people, like an artist, we hate how we look our artwork,
Sure.
but we have to overcome that. But I love doing this, and be honest with you, and I have to put that aside so I can continue to talk with people like you. And
You
um
well,
you
you're
know
doing a great job. Like I said,
well
you come off very genuine. So I appreciate that, and you're super nice. So
well, thank you, I appreciate it, man. And that's something that you can't teach somebody. You can try,
yeah,
but it's not always going to come out.
yeah.
But
Well, you're like you think about things before you say them, um, and you can see that like you don't want to come off any way that would seem negative, not because you don't want to be seen negative, because that's not within your personality. That's what I see. So,
I appreciate
um,
that, sir.
well, I mean, like I've been. It's I hate doing this, but I'm a practicing Buddhism since I was 18. Um, and it gave me perspective into people. I'm not
Uh-huh.
always right. I'm wrong all the time, but um, sometimes people need to hear it, like like what they see. Like I could leave this podcast and tell Joe Blow, like, hey man, it's on this podcast. This guy was super nice, da da da, which is nice, but sometimes you need to tell the person, right? Like, hey man, you're doing a good job. Like keep going, keep doing it. Um, like take that second and do that. Like imagine, how many people feel better with a good job, right? You're just like,
Yeah.
man, I wasn't expecting that. Like it made me feel good, right? Like, and that energy goes to the next person and the next person.
Yeah, I
I've
believe it.
made tons of mistakes in my life that I'm still atoning for. But
Yeah.
we're all human beings and we just got to get better. And if I can make someone else's journey a little better, I will.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, sir, and congratulations for this. I'm looking forward to reading the comic and eventually talking to you about it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh and see what else you're going to be working on. So you said the next convention you're going to be at is at GalaxyCon, or
Yeah,
right?
I have a signing the 10th of February in Knoxville
Okay.
at Nirvana
Okay.
Comics. And then the weekend after, I think it's the 17th, it's at the Secret Lair in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Um, and then the weekend before GalaxyCon, which is the weekend of the 15th, 16th, and 17th of March, uh, I'm at Ultimate Comics in Durham, I think. And then Ultimate Comics at Fort Bragg in Raleigh, North Carolina, the day after.
Okay.
So if they follow my socials, I'll have it posted.
And we'll put links below once this post, so you can go to his website, his Instagram, check what his artwork that he's done, and get to learn more about him. This is just the beginning. You're gonna start
Cool.
seeing a lot more of him. I can guarantee you for that.
After the
Uh,
first issue, I gotta hear what you think about the ending of the
I
first
will.
issue.
I will definitely message you as soon as I read it. Um, Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask, and before we get off,
Okay.
are we gonna see any wrestle moves as for fight scenes like we did in Transformers of the suplex?
Um, I don't know. There's a lot of sword play
Oh,
in
nice.
the so I don't know wrestle moves. There's a the I wish I could show you, but everything moves so quickly. Uh, like Declan gave me a lot of freedom with the choreography and composition of the fights. Like if you saw that Wiley Cat page where they're like fighting on each other
Yeah.
to get this rabbit lizard thing that Tiger is I guess trying to eat. But that page I think has like 10 panels on it, but Declan, I I want to say only had like 4 or 5, but he was just like, do what you want, like, but
Wow.
make it like interesting. So the fights are like that. I added extra beats, so things are like, so it kind of flows like this, or it's very high pace, kinetic. There's not a lot of pauses happening
Wow.
in the fight. I think there's like 5 straight pages of just nonstop going. Uh,
Nice.
um, like I think they showed the page where Panther is jumping forward and all the other Thundercats are around him, and that's after Lionel calls them. But after that, it's a battle until the last page, and then the last page is something else. You get to see Chitara do her thing, and the kitten cat do theirs, and of course Panthro and Tigra. And Tigra doesn't need the whip to turn invisible. They showed that in the preview, one of the preview pages. He could
Oh,
just do
nice.
it. So that's a cool addition. Like he could just do it. There's no,
Dang. Yeah.
where he wraps himself. Uh, yeah, man. God, I'm so excited for people to see it, and I mean not just the art, just the story. It's a really good story. When they and please buy the floppies, okay? Nothing kills a comic faster than some people just waiting for trade. Because
Yeah.
if they don't buy the floppies, how do comic companies know it's doing well? They'll end up canceling the book. Then the trade will come out and sell like crazy. They're not going to just start the book again because they already
Yes.
canceled it. So, like, buy the floppies. You don't have to buy all. I don't know how many covers they did, but a lot. Just buy one. like,
Yeah. Go to
like
your local comic book shops.
spend the $5, get the comic, and then it'll stay alive, and you'll have Thundercats comics for years. Um, Instead of just getting 2 runs and 2 trades. Like you can have comics like Thundercats for years and years. But you gotta believe, you gotta get those floppies. Uh, I don't know if why people, I don't hear people say that. Like
Yeah.
you have to. But the problem is I mean I get it, man. Like these covers are ridiculous, um, and people just collect the covers, and some people are like, well, I can't just get one because I'm a completionist. But that's your problem, right? Like just get one, man. It's okay. Like I give you one of mine if you get another one, then you can have two. If I only get like 6 comps, so
Oh,
uh,
dang.
yeah, I don't get a lot. I get like 6, maybe 5. I usually get 5 of the my cover if I do one, and then I get one like if it's a blank or whatever variant. But I don't really get a lot of comps. Um, but that's every company does that except for Image. I just did they re-released the book I did 10 years ago called The Colonized. I
Yeah.
did with Chris Ryle. I think it was like 2 weeks ago they re-released it at Image. We did that at IDW, and they gave me like 100 of them things. Uh,
Oh, dang.
so every time I do like a commission, I'll put a trade in there, and then
Oh,
I send it
nice.
out. Cause man, I'm not gonna carry those to a show.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
That's a lot
too
to
I'm
carry.
too lazy for that. And then if somebody gets a free 100-page graphic novel, um,
Can't pass that out, man.
that's what I think. I would love a free graphic novel. Uh, I got a bunch of them.
Oh, man. It was a great time talking to you. Look forward to talking to you again. And I will message you once I get my hands on the first issue and I read it because I will be doing a review on that one as well. And like I said, guys, go follow him on socials. Don't miss out. Go to your local comic book shops. If you're in here in San Antonio, go to Dragon's Lair, Alamo Ranch. Pre-order your copy so you don't miss out.
Yes.
And if you sell out, then we're gonna go into second printing. So that's
Oh,
always
I
a
sure
good thing.
hope so. Not that I
Yes.
get any. I don't get royalties. That's a misconception. I had so many people go, "Oh man, this royalty check's gonna be crazy." I was like, "I don't know for who. It's not for me." Uh, but I'm happy to be a part of it. So it, it is what it is. But no, I'd love to see it go into second printing. I've never had a book go into second printing. Gargoyles Dark Ages sold well, uh, but not like this, man. And to be honest, I was a little too old for Gargoyles when that came out.
Yeah, because
I
it was
was in
like, what,
college.
94, 95, right? Around there?
Yeah, I just started college. It wasn't my focus. I had a friend that was really into it, but I watched them all when I got the job, and I was very familiar with it. And it was a great book to do. It was a lot of fun. Gargoyles fans are wonderful. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met. Uh, I don't know about Thundercats fans because I haven't been in the wild yet. Uh,
Oh,
but the Gargoyles fans, and if you're watching, any of you, you guys are wonderful. You're so kind. And I've never had a fan come up, like multiple come up to me like, "We're just happy that you're doing the book. You're doing a great job. Thank you." And I was taken back by that, because that is a sign of appreciation that not a lot of people get to see, and
yes.
I got to witness it. So, be a part of it. Um, it was it's humbling. It really is. So, Gargoyles fans, I love you.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it for our show. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. We got more cool stuff coming to you. Um, Drew looks like he's gonna come back, so let's hope he does.
Yeah,
And we can talk to him, and maybe we can do a live stream next time, and you can ask him questions, and
sure.
we can go from there. Thanks, guys.